Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. The reason we're here today is to talk about a really exciting partnership between Point One and Emlid. And it's actually the future of RTK positioning. And I really want to let both Igor and Aaron kind of tell us a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the partnership. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Igor.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for the introduction, and welcome everybody to this Emlid and Point One webinar, where we're going to talk about the future of RTK positioning. So a little bit about myself. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Emlid. I founded this company with my partner 12 years ago out of the frustrating experience that we had with centimeter accurate positioning technology. The receivers were really expensive, like over $20,000 for no reason. They all came with this separate computer, which was also expensive and ran a Windows C or Windows Mobile operating system with really specialized software, and that was actually for no reason. And then they were really difficult to use and required a lot of training, so were only accessible to those who had the time to invest. And we also thought that that was for no reason. So we set ourselves on a path to fix all of that. And I believe that we succeeded. And today we are the company that makes centimeter accurate positioning accessible to a broader audience of people. And that's ultimately our goal. So really excited to be here, really excited to announce this partnership with Point One, because I believe that that's the next step that progresses us on our mission.
Thank you, Igor. And I'll pass it over to you, Aaron, to give us a little intro as well.
Yeah, thanks, Don. And I will echo the excitement of the partnership. Just for a quick background of those of you that don't know us at Point One, we've been around for about 10 years on, I would say, a little bit of a similar mission from a different side where, my background, I worked in field robotics 20 years ago, built some of the first self-driving vehicles. And I saw that there was immense potential in high precision GPS positioning, and it was just too hard and too expensive and too complicated, and a lot of it was for no good reason. So we started this company to do something that was extremely difficult, which was to build a professional grade RTK network across the world. And it's taken a long time to get here, but through lots of great partnerships and hard work, we've been able to build something that I think is a key enabler. And so when you take, the network backend that we have, and you take the incredible work on the front end of the hardware and the software that Emlid has, I think you have like a really amazing product end to end that solves this kind of joint journey we have of bringing simplicity with a really powerful tool set. And super excited to be working together. And
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Igor. These guys are very humble. They're both, titans in the field. So it's fun to talk to both of you and to see that we're coming together as two companies to offer something that makes everyone's lives easier. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The problem with traditional positioning is you have hardware and then you have corrections, and sometimes those two things don't play nice, and sometimes you're using a lot of correction providers and you're moving around or you're installing base stations. It's generally a huge headache for people who are trying to use a receiver or trying to get a corrections network or trying to get Ntrip credentials. So I wanted to kind of frame that problem and that pain point before handing it over to you, Igor, to talk about how you're seeing the issues with the hardware as a hardware provider, and how you're bridging that gap between frustrating in the field occurrences and what's next. Like how do we solve it?
So I really like to, thinking about it, I really like to go back to the conversations that I have with someone who is new to RTK and to high precision positioning. So it's never an issue with seasoned surveyors who know what they are doing and they know about Ntrip and about everything. But every time I'm speaking to a customer at an expo that is not necessarily survey oriented, and then I see people getting really excited about centimeter accurate positioning. Like I show them the device and they're like, oh, really? This is so much more accurate than my phone. I can use it instead of a tape measure. You know, that's how they think about it. And then I see them all excited. And at some point I have to bring up this topic like, oh, by the way, you also need corrections. And that's the moment where usually I see them lose that excitement and start thinking, okay, but I need to find them somewhere, and how much do they cost, and what are the providers? And it's like kind of this layer that we just like, we believe that we can completely eliminate that, just that headache, and a large part of the cost as well. But that's what was driving really this partnership, and I think the design process behind the implementation is how do we solve this friction in adoption of the technology, that like you have to tell the customer about it, they have to learn about it, the learning curve is steep, and then it's a new answer for every region where you operate. So we really wanted to make the lives of our customers easier here. So if you can just switch the slide. That was the question that we asked ourselves. Okay, so how can we get this user experience for our customers where they just open the box and it works, and they don't need to learn about all these 4-letter acronyms like course, entry, port number. Like, can we somehow just remove all of this, because it's completely unnecessary? Like, we are just so used to that being the norm inside the industry, but if we look from outside in, it makes absolutely no sense that we still have this in 2026. So we really wanted to somehow redesign this. And we asked the question, yeah, so how can we get our users to fix fast and ideally without any efforts? And so the actual thing is that we cannot work around physics, right? We still need to have base stations, to have to give them that centimeter accuracy. So we're looking for a reliable partner who has this infrastructure, right? Who has reliable infrastructure that's consistent across different regions, so we can have this unified customer experience no matter where you are. And we found that partner in Point One, and I think it's best now, Aaron, if you tell more about what's behind the Point One infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think I appreciate that, and I think this is where we've kind of saw our pain points in the industry, whether it's from surveyors, whether it's from drone pilots, or even some of our customers building in autonomy and robotics. And this is really a key thing where good infrastructure is infrastructure you don't think about. That's kind of my test. And so if you turn it on and it just works, the best analog that we've probably all experienced is GPS. You don't think about it as like, is GPS working? Like, it just works. And we want the correction service to have a similar experience where you just turn it on and it works. And so for today, that requires a lot of careful thought about the infrastructure and how it's put together, how it's maintained, who's deploying it, and what is the hardware behind that infrastructure. But those should be our problems, not the customer problems. And that's kind of what we've put a lot of effort into building over the last decade.
Yeah. So we are just really excited to introduce this partnership and this service, which we call Emlid Corrections, which is powered by the Point One network. That's the service that allows our customers to have this one click experience where they activate the corrections and they just magically start to work. So the service is available today in most of the Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and of course in the United States.
And then not only do you see the coverage map, which I know everyone's interested in, the thing that is really important to appreciate is that this is not, just tying together a bunch of networks that already exist. This is actually proprietary infrastructure that's put in the ground. It's owned by Point One, and this allows us to have a highly consistent experience It lets us know the security, the provenance of all of the data that's coming into the receivers and ultimately be used for customers making important business decisions. And the other thing that's really important here is that we're continuously expanding this network. And so the coverage map that you see, even in these slides when they were made, it's already out of date. And so we're constantly deploying base stations. Here in the US, you'll see the eastern seaboard is now almost completely covered at 30, 40 kilometer type of baselines. And this ability for us to continuously invest into the network, and then basically the benefits of that come through to the users, and it's completely transparent. It's something that every base station we deploy only improves the service you're already getting, and I think that's something that we've kind of come to expect in other networks that we all use, like our cellular networks as an example. And I think this is it's about time it happens for the GPS corrections industry. The other piece that I think is really important is, Point One is a modern software-based company, similar in DNA to Emlid, and this allows us to be able to have far more sophisticated infrastructure monitoring the capabilities of the network. It allows us to push updates out to the field as new constellations are coming up, and so it's kind of those of you that have been in the industry for a while, it took some companies years to just support Galileo, and those are companies in Europe. And so it's something where we are looking to always be offering the latest signal coverage, the latest capability, the latest security, and that's all possible because we actually own and control the infrastructure.
Thanks, Aaron. One thing I want to double click on with the network is how we're delivering corrections to Emlid receivers, and hopefully you can talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, those of you that are familiar with the details of how RTK works, there's a bunch of different ways that you can create corrections for GPS receivers. The most common and I guess you could say simplest is what's known as single baseline. And so you may have done this, with your own base station where you could have, an RS4 configured as a base, and then you basically are getting corrections just from that singular base station. There are some workflows where this is really valuable and important, but the other capability is when you have what's called network RTK. And as the name implies, what this is actually doing is using a network of base stations together and then synthesizing what's known as a virtual station that will be very close to where you are actually operating. And what that virtual station does is it represents a blend of the different physical stations that are nearby and allows you to have a little bit better consistency at longer baselines, and generally will have performance. This is a technique that is used very commonly in the survey industry, and as you would imagine, we're using state-of-the-art techniques to be able to calculate those virtual reference stations and be not just competitive, but outperform a lot of existing solutions out there. So this is a philosophy that we have, which is, as a company, we support either one. We're not using the network RTK to kind of overextend the physical deployment of our base stations. We have a very high density of base stations, plus we have this capability to be able to go at a network solution. And the reason that we do this is that network RTK accuracy still is going to be dictated by the topography of your physical stations. So if you have physical stations, hundreds of kilometers away from each other, you're not going to be achieving, survey grade level accuracies. And so, we've set up our density targets to be around 40 kilometers across all the geographies that we offer. And this is something, like I said, that we're investing in continuously, expanding both the regions we have today with higher coverage, and then also expanding net new areas in the course of our network topology expansions.
That is a great explanation. Thank you, Aaron. And then I guess the kind of like culmination of that is what you get on the Emlid correction side. So tell us what you get. what's the solution here?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what you're going to see is 1 to 2 centimeters in horizontal, about 1 to 2 centimeters as well in vertical for good coverage areas, and this is powered by the VRS engine that's running on our server side. And so with the Emlid corrections integration, the network RTK is the delivery that you'll see. And this is something that will provide the most consistent experience across basically the user base.
Awesome. So that's how the corrections function. But I wanted to maybe ask Igor, how does the setup actually work from the Emlid user perspective?
Yeah. So something that made me really excited to work with Point One was not just they have this really dense network of highest quality base stations that send all the possible signals and frequencies that give our receivers the ability to, in the end, have the highest positioning performance, but also that Point One is really this is a company that is like coming from the new generation for our industry, and they're bringing good software practices. They have a very flexible software platform which allows us as integrators to create fantastic user experiences for our customers. And because of that, we were able to create this seamless experience where if you have an Emlid receiver, you just connect with Emlid Flow, and basically you just see an option for Emlid corrections, and all you need to do is you need to select that and start working, and that's it. So I don't think we should produce a manual for that. What's important to mention here is that it's not your only option. So you still have the possibility of connecting to an Entry service that you already have or to work over radio. So we're just giving you one more option to work. But I believe that this is going to become the predominant option for our customers, considering just how easy it is. And that's how we arrived to that vision, to that dream of somebody just opening the box, connecting with the app and immediately going and making measurements. I'm sure everyone will love that. So if we can just go to the next slide. So one of the things that we really wanted to eliminate was this whole enter domain name, enter port number, select a mount point from a list where you have no idea which mount point you should be connecting to, going to read the manual about what do these letters mean, and then selecting something wrong and then getting a wrong data. So we really wanted to get rid of that experience. We just wanted it to be as easy as just connecting to corrections, and that's it. So when you're activating Emlid corrections, they are tied to a particular receiver. So it doesn't matter who connects with the app to that receiver. The receiver automatically gets the correction data from Point One's servers. So we have also eliminated not just the initial setup issues, but also this something that we hear from our customers, I have to manage the list of Entry accounts that my guys are using. If you're running a team and then one of the receivers is not connecting because someone left that Entry account running on their receiver, which is now in the office, and that's blocking the connection of somebody who's trying to work, and then they have to, they have to call back to the office to figure out what's going on, and it's just a mess. Because the architecture of this is just plainly wrong, and the way we're able to build this is that just as long as the receiver is activated, it gets corrections. That's it. And that also means that you get predictable cost across the whole fleet because you just attach a license to the receiver, and that's it. Yes. And the best part is that we have enabled the first year for free for every Emlid user. And it doesn't matter if we can go to the next slide, you are just buying a receiver right now, or you're already an Emlid customer. And I'm sure that many of you who are participating in this webinar probably already saw the banner in Emlid Flow to activate their free year. If you did, please leave a message in the chat if you already activated Emlid corrections. I'd love to hear from you. We build all these things, but then it's really exciting to hear the feedback that someone is using them. And I was really excited about that one. I'm really grateful for this partnership with Point One, that they made it possible to enable this amazing offer for over 20,000 RTK receivers that are within the coverage zone. And the list of models is really, really extensive here. So everything from RS2 and later. So all the receivers you see here on the screen, they're eligible for a free year of Emlid corrections. And then if we can go to the next slide, you'll see that after that, topping up the corrections for 3 years is pretty much the same price as what you'll get from a commercial provider for 1 year now. So buying an Emlid receiver with this 3-year top up, you get essentially 4 years of corrections for just $1,200. So that's just a fantastic offer for the quality of data that you are getting, for the reliability of infrastructure that you're getting, and for the user experience that is delivered. So I'm really, really, really excited to launch this and to eliminate these points of friction and just the things that don't make any sense in how this whole precise positioning world works.
Thank you for making it make sense. We really appreciate it. So we announced Emlid corrections. Can Aaron and Igor too? Can you tell us who this is for and where those people might be operating?
Yeah, I mean, I think the folks that use Emlid devices, it's spans from people that have been doing survey forever, to new people that are this next generation and are using it for all kinds of new innovative things. And I think this is the really exciting part about making things easy, is that you actually expand like who can use it, and it becomes something where you don't have to have enormous amounts of training and all these things to use it for applications that can be very, very valuable. And I think this is one of the things that we wanted to accomplish together. Is we believe that by making the product easier to use but just as powerful, that we can actually have more people be able to take advantage of this incredible tool. And so, I mean, of course, all the use cases listed here. And then, we see all kinds of new things coming up, people doing even like data capture with their phones, doing like building inspections and these kinds of things that are pretty amazing. Is it the same as $100,000 instrument? Maybe a little bit not, but it's still something that is going to create a very valuable artifact. And guess what? You can now get that data way faster. And a lot of times the freshness of the data coming from the field, it's more valuable than having, some big clunky machine that was very hard to operate before. And so, I think this is something that we see across all the industries that we service. And I'm super excited to see it happen here. And Igor, I think you can speak better to, the Emlid user base as well.
Yeah, so like where I see this, making the biggest impact is for those who are new to centimeter accurate positioning. And then we are seeing this like across the board, these are the people who would normally just like call a surveyor, wait for a surveyor. So these are different jobs on like construction sites, in earthworks, golf field design, event layouts. These are the things where they either they had to call a surveyor, or they just would pull tape and call it a day. So and now it just becomes so easy to use that they can just use it as a measurement instrument, just like a tape measure. Like I think we're getting close to that point where it's going to be like a laser distance measurement device, or I don't know, a digital level, like something like it should get to a point where it's that easy. And I believe that this partnership is the crucial part to getting there, where it's just, that's another way of measuring things.
Same. It's democratization of the technology. It's I think it's a big thing, and I'm super excited to see it really take shape.
And some of the early reviews seem to agree with you both wholeheartedly. Igor, you can maybe share these. These are from the Emlid side. But what are you seeing with the first adopters, early adopters?
So we're seeing really good results and people are happy. I'm really glad that we are able to enable it for pretty much all of our user base, and give them a chance to try a new way of working. I think, yeah, there's pure excitement, and everyone is enjoying using the new service. And I'm also really glad to see some positive feedback here on the chat, with people activating and using that. So that's always the best part of shipping anything new, is just seeing people that are happy using what you've built.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about why we partnered together, but maybe we can talk a little bit about what's next. Aaron, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've definitely started off big here. So, on day one to say, hey, 20,000 users will have access to this for free for a year. I think I would almost say never been done in the industry. And I think that's exciting. Like, that's actually what makes this so awesome, is that we're taking bold moves together. And so I think this is where we want to see the industry go. And I think once people see that this is possible, especially at the price points that we talked about, it's going to really reshape how people think. Now, the obvious thing for our side is, we don't have coverage everywhere in the world. That is our plan, though. We will be expanding our network. We are very interested in continuing to invest in that. And so, feedback from users helps us guide where we, put our resources to go and invest in new stations. And I think this this partnership is going to give us a lot of signal in terms of where customers want to see this capability expand.
I totally agree with you. And on this thing that, I'm sure that we're the first to do this at this scale for this industry. But I don't see any version of the future, where 3 years from now, we are still the only ones. I think it's going to be the standard for sure. And then other companies will catch up, and basically they will have to provide it, because it's just obviously the superior way of doing things.
I don't know. They still love those legacy data collectors. I see those in the field.
Yeah, somehow that still happens. I don't know. Again, doesn't make any sense.
But no, I agree. I joke.
Yeah, we're not of course, we're not the fastest industry, right? So we're a conservative industry for a reason, but still, I'm really glad that we get to kind of to push it forward. And then I believe also that Emlid users are the most forward-looking ones, and those who adapt the quickest. So also really excited about the coverage expansion. I don't know I think we're going to answer some questions today, and then maybe speak about some countries in particular and some plans around them, but really excited to bring this to more users, and then just keep working on the quality, availability, reach, all of that, all the things that matter for real field use.
Thank you both. Yeah. So if people want to explore and activate, they can do so in Emlid Flow today. You can scan this QR code or open up your Emlid Flow app on your phone. We're going to also do a Q&A now for a couple of minutes, but if you have stuck it out this long, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Stick around for just a little bit longer, because we are giving away a 3-year license at the end of this to Emlid Corrections. Just a couple of rules about that giveaway before we get into the Q&A. I will spin a wheel. It's very exciting. And that person, if they are in the chat, please just raise your hand or call out in the chat to claim your prize, or else we'll spin again to make sure that that person is actually in attendance. And this 3-year license is only for covered regions where network RTK is currently enabled. And then lastly, unfortunately, not for any Emlid or Point One employees. Sorry, but thank you for attending nevertheless.
Oh, no.
So yeah, stick around until the end of the Q&A, and we're gonna do a giveaway. And Scott in the chatter is already saying that he's here, so there's no need to spin the wheel. Okay, Scott, maybe a little corruption going on. I don't know. I'm gonna start with some questions to both of you. Igor, I see one in the Q&A about an RS4 that was purchased in March 2026 in the Bahamas, and I would like to get a free year of RTK service. I used my device on Sunday and it did not see the option for the free service.
I'm gonna redirect this question to Aaron.
Are you asking me to get coverage in the Bahamas?
It's not me asking.
I think, yeah, I mean, this is a really good thing. So the option, I think, is gated based on where we do have coverage. So you won't see it if we don't have coverage. And I'm sure that our installation technicians would love to come to the Bahamas. And that said, I'm not even joking. We do have some of the Caribbean islands covered and other, more remote places. So we're not afraid of doing those things. So definitely reach out, and we can keep you informed as we're kind of developing our deployment plans in specific regions. I don't have the Bahamas in my memory of exactly when it's planned, but I definitely think that's a possibility for sure.
Thanks, Aaron. There's a question here about doing some post-processing of like static files, either from base stations or after doing survey work. Can you maybe speak to that a little bit?
So yeah, we technically do have archive data for all of our base stations going back, I don't even know at this point, 5-6 years. And so we did just launch a feature in our API to be able to access that data, both as raw RTCM and as well as Rhinex, as well as getting the ephemeris data for that time period. So that's something that, I mean, honestly, we use internally quite a bit. And so we made it into a feature for our customers. And so you can access that today directly through us. You would obviously need to create an account and such. And yeah, maybe it's a great area that Igor and I can discuss at a future point. So how to do that through this partnership.
Yeah, sorry to put both of you on the spot. I'm just seeing a lot of PPK questions. So
yeah.
Okay, awesome. This one's for Igor. How is Emlid's vertical accuracy specifically for use on tile plows? Can NMEA messages be turned off?
So in terms of the accuracy, was specified as 14 millimeters RMS. That's obviously in perfect conditions. So then it's gonna vary. But I would say that you can count on it being like it depends on the metric you choose. But then you can count on it being within a few centimeters on the vertical on a moving vehicle with vibrations and such. And yes, it's possible to disable the NMEA messages and configure them just as you need for the equipment you're connecting it to.
Aaron, question for you. Can you repeat your VRS solution, or is it unique to every initialization?
It is unique to the initialization, if I understand the root of the question. So basically, when you connect to the service, we do generate a unique solution for that session, so to speak. This allows us to have kind of the best interpolation for each particular user. Some alternative networks, they kind of use like a predefined grid to do this, and this just kind of creates an unnecessary second interpolation in our mind. So we chose to do it the way that I guess probably costs us a little bit more money to compute, but it is will result in a better performance for the end user.
This is for Igor, and maybe a bit, subjective, but what is the best setup for a drone business? I'm flying a Skydio X10.
So the best setup is to get an RS4 or maybe a pair of RS4s. Like it really depends on what is it that you want to do. Like if you're after the highest accuracy possible, then you still would want to use a local base. Aaron, don't just let me finish this. So you would always want to use a local base because that's how you get the shortest baseline every time, and it's guaranteed. Because like when you're working with a network, you're still like it's possible that you'll be further away from a station at times, right? By definition. So depending on where your jobs are, and with a local base station, you are independent. What I would do personally is I would have an RS4 as your local base for the drone, but I would use Emlid corrections and position that initially to just tie it to the local datum, and then transmit corrections to your Skydio drone, and at the same time use the second receiver as a rover to place GCPs. And this way, your baseline from local base to the rover and the baseline from the local base to, I said, to the drone and then to the rover where you're placing GCP, you're going to have the tightest accuracy possible on that. And they will be both referenced to the same base station, while this base station will be reliably referenced to the national datum. And that's today kind of the workflow that gives you the highest accuracy, but takes a bit more time in the field. And then if you want something that's maybe you're just making something that doesn't require that level of accuracy, right? You're not chasing the last centimeter there. Then you could just use Point One network over Ntrip directly into your controller, and maybe you don't need anything from Emlid at all if the goal is to produce just something that's visually good, and maybe a 3D model that's consistent to itself. So it really depends on what you're doing, and then you could pick your option depending on the kind of certain level of complexity you're willing to accept for the accuracy trade-off that you're getting. And if you want to learn more, just contact our team, and then we'll be happy to break it down into more details.
Thanks, Igor.
And I agree for what it's worth. Like, it's I think the key is that you always need to tie whatever you're using back to the national grid, and that requires a correction service. So the local base is like, I always think about it, it's like an RTK repeater. And that's like a good mental model to think about it. And it's we have a lot of customers who fly direct on Point One, and a lot of customers who are, even before we had this integration, were using various Emlid receivers as a local base for exactly that reason.
And always use ground control points.
Yes.
So you need at least one rover for that.
Yeah, GCPs are important for that work. I think we have time for like one or two more questions before the giveaway. Igor, I'm seeing this a lot in the chat. Do I have to buy a new unit to get the free year, or does it work for an older one?
It works both for new customers and for existing customers starting from RS2. So it doesn't matter like if you bought it yesterday or 3 years ago, you're still covered by this 3-year offer. I also think there is some confusion about the virtual RTK and VRS. If we could maybe also take this question before we do the giveaway.
Yeah, that was going to be my last question. You beat me to it, Igor.
Okay. Do you want me to explain this one? Because virtual. So virtual RTK is it's a product name that Point One has. It is not the same thing as VRS, which is virtual reference station. And I understand how there could be some confusion. Virtual RTK is a different service that we offer. It's a lower accuracy service for more casual type of uses. It's like a 3 to 7 centimeter level accuracy in horizontal. That's designed for more like, think about it as very high-end PPP, or what people now call SSR RTK. That is generally used more for like machine control applications. So not necessarily as applicable. The technology that we're talking about here with Emlid corrections is a true network RTK solution that uses a virtual reference station to be able to tell where you are, and that will get you the 1 to 2 centimeter accuracy that we talked about.
Thank you for explaining. Yeah, there was a lot of questions in the chat there, so hopefully that clears it up. And yeah, Chris also mentioned in the chat, if you're confused or want to learn more, just reach out to support@pointonenav.com, and we'll be happy to talk about the various solutions. Okay, I think we've done enough talking, and it's now time for the giveaway portion. So I am going to spin this wheel that has all of our names on it here, except for Point One and Emlid employees. And if your name comes up, please just give a shout in the chat, and we will reach out to you and give you a free 3-year license for Emlid corrections. So are we ready? Should I press it? Okay, here we go. This is very exciting. Oh, okay. Terry Ferguson. Terry, are you in the chat by any chance? Give us a shout here, or raise your hand. If not, we're gonna spin again. But Terry, if you're here, let us know, and we can give you a free license. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds. Oh, Terry's not here. Oh no. Okay, we're gonna have to spin again. Here we go. I'm gonna spin again. Okay, Chris. Oh no, actually, Terry is here and he raised his hand. Oh my God. Okay, Joe, you lied to us. Terry's here. Okay, Terry, congratulations, you won. Thank you for raising your hand. We're gonna reach out to you via email for a free license. Awesome. Maybe we could see what we could do for Chris. I feel bad if Chris is in the chat. Give us a shout too. If not, it's all good. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're really excited about this partnership. We're really excited about Emlid Corrections. As mentioned, if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to both of our support channels and we'll be happy to assist you. But otherwise, here's to centimeter accuracy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.